And hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Secrets. I'm your host, Nikki Colon. I'm so happy you guys could be here today for my Bigfoot Weekly with Vic Gutierrez. And you're going to know who he is in just a sec. But I do want to acknowledge everybody in the chat right now. So let me bring you all on here and just see what we got going. What do we got? Who was first in the house? Danny in the house first. Good to see you. There is Sasquatch Wizard loving the green. Thank you very much. Jen is here, was here. Now she's at work, but we'll see her a little bit later, probably. Sharon, stay awake. And there's Sandra also wearing the green. Uncle Bones. Hello, Angel Nolan. Finding the Trackway. Good to see you. And B Lynn. There's the B. Man, she can make me feel good. Thank you, my friend. Did I say the Chocolate Shake King? Jay Fritz, did I say that? I don't know if I said that or not. He's here. He's here. Kevin Harder. Good to see you guys. There's Anita. Hello, Anita. John Ayers. There's my bro from another mom. Okay, let's see who we got. Robert coming in at the end there. Well, if I missed you, I'm so sorry. I'm glad to see you guys all made it here. And it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night. So let me get over to my intro and let's bring on my guest. Hello, Vic. Welcome to the
house. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Me.
I'm thrilled. Thanks. It's way too long. I should have had you on a long time ago. Seriously. So for all of you out there, Vic Gutierrez is one of the reasons why I got into podcasting and YouTubing. Okay. Because when I got back from Korea, South Korea, in January 2013, I started watching Vic. Vic had the channel Bigfootweekly on YouTube, which is still there. You can still go over there and find it. And he used to do Bigfoot news, which was the inspiration for me having my segment on my show, Bigfoot in the News. Okay. But it was an amazing show. And you put out this weekly rundown of all the stuff that happened in the Bigfoot community. And the way you did it, it was really cool. Let me see if I can. Oh gosh, it's gonna ask me for permissions. I know there was stuff I was missing to do today. I missed all kinds of stuff. I've been so busy, you guys don't even know. I got behind because this week, okay, you all know what's happened this whole week, right? Well, I have just been catch up ever since then. But hold on, I got this stuff.
Yeah, it's been 10 years, but it feels longer than that sometimes.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It does feel like after a while, it feels like you've been here doing the same stuff for so long. And you know, what new information do we have? There is a lot of new stuff compared from 10 years ago to now. New technologies are being used, drones and all this stuff. That's kind of new. And let's see, how am I going to put us? Let's put us like this. So there's a look at his channel. And you have a good following. You had over, 2,000 subscribers on there, but you haven't posted anything in, like I said, 10 years or so.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. What took you away?
Well, it was right in the midst of a lot of the Rick Dyer, his last hoax. there were a lot of people involved. There were daily sort of happenings with Rick Dyer and with a lot of others too. And after Rick Dyer's hoax was exposed and all that came out in the open, it just sort of sucked the wind out of my sails. And then finding good content became a little harder. And then I got onto other things, mostly raising my family. And so, I let it go. And I thought at the time that I would probably come back sooner or later. I thought, well, maybe I'll just take 6 months or a year and then come back. And it just never happened. I still keep up with Bigfoot news, not as, I'm not as dedicated to it as I once was. But there's always a lot of interesting stuff out there anyway. Right. And of course, I keep up with your channel, and others. But at the time, there were what I felt were like some really interesting researchers that I think I interviewed 2 of real interest. And that was Mitch Waite, the late Mitch Waite, did a lot of good work up in northern Arizona. Footprints and video and some experiences that he had. And so I did an interview with him, and it was interesting meeting him. I know you met him as well. And you got a chance to talk with him. Interesting guy. And the other researcher that I really took a liking to was Mark Bada, I think of Colorado Sasquatch. Trying to remember the name of his channel.
Sasquatch. Wait. Okay, not Bigfoot, Colorado Bigfoot. So it's what
is it was Colorado Sasquatch Research or something like that. I can't remember the exact name of the channel. It's still out there, but he caught a lot of really good photos and evidence and had some great
Colorado Sasquatch. That's what it was. It was Colorado
Sasquatch. There we go. Yeah. And so I got a chance to interview him, and his experiences were off the hook, man. I mean, he did some really good work. Then he and his girlfriend started teaming up on that work, and they did that pretty regularly for a while, and then they just kind of fell off. But I touched base with Mark, I want to say a little over a year ago, and he said that he was writing a book because he'd had enough data and enough information and stuff from his research that he was going to write a book. And he said he would send me a signed copy, but I still haven't seen it. I don't know if he's done writing it or still publishing. I don't know what he's doing, but definitely I think that book would be one that I would look forward to reading. The only interview that I didn't get to do and I had some regrets about was with the late J.C. Johnson.
Right.
And his loss was a great loss to the community. I mean, he did some amazing work up in the Four Corners area. And when I first saw his channel, I thought, dang, it was just astonishing, the stuff that he worked on. And then, of course, he was associated with Melba Ketchum's mitochondrial DNA research that she was doing that unfortunately didn't get the proper peer review that it needed. But I asked JC for an interview. He said, yeah, absolutely. And then he moved to Minnesota. And he wasn't going to be back in Arizona for quite a while. And then during that time, unfortunately, he passed away. And so that was sad news and really a loss to the crypto community. He was a great researcher. He would share all the information, any information, whatever you needed or wanted from him. He was always very free with it. So unfortunately, I didn't get to get an interview. He actually
had some interesting stuff with the dark-eyed kids. The black-eyed kids?
Yeah.
Up there on the reservation area, and had some really amazing stories that were just scary, like, because I used to go up there. I used to tromp around on the reservation. I did.
I remember you. Yeah, you lived in Flagstaff for a while too, didn't you?
I lived in Flagstaff for a while, and when I went to school there at NAU, I did my internship there off the reservation, doing post-education stuff with some of the tribes. And So it's like, when he would describe things, I was like, "Ooh, I was over there," I was like,
Yeah,
that's, it was crazy.
It was because of J.C. Johnson and his channel in conversations that I had with him that I learned a lot about the way the Navajo Nation treats these paranormal, crypto sort of happenings, right? And the one thing I didn't know that JC told me, I had absolutely no idea, was that the Navajo police investigate paranormal calls. You think you see something or you're experiencing something, you call them and they'll investigate. And that's very different, obviously, than what the standard, police practices are in these big cities. But yeah, J.C. Johnson to me was like a wealth of knowledge. I really learned a lot about not just the stuff he was doing, but the Navajo Nation and the Navajo reservation and everything that goes on there. I would not have had any idea how different things are on the Navajo res. It's crazy.
There's actually, I know there's at least one documentary out there about those Apache, or what's the name of their group? And I know there's several people in the chat who know the name. Is Donald? I haven't seen Donald. I think Donald knows the name of that group off of the reservation there. But the documentary is really, really good and explains, how they came up with it and who's in there and what they've been called out to do. And, there was like at one point there was a decimation of sheep and goats and stuff like that. And they did all that kind of investigation into that, and skinwalkers. And, they really investigated that whole thing.
Yeah, they did. It really is something. That's
Maybe
a whole different twist. It's a different deal on the reservation. I mean, they don't play on the res. Right. They tell you something, don't be out at night, whatever. You best listen.
Right. Don't pick up any strangers. Yeah, you even interviewed Kreider, didn't you? Or did you not? I can't remember.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think we talked, but I never did an interview. At the time, I think his research started to slow down a little bit. And I think he went through a slight reorganization at some time after that.
Yeah.
But no, I never got to interview him.
He's still around and doing his thing. He's had some controversies with his research as well, and his expeditions, that have really, opened the eyes to a lot of people to how should you run an expedition, and what are the things that, are important. Have water out on your expeditions, folks. That might help. So anyway, but we're not going to go there. That's not the show.
I remember that. I remember that.
But this is kind of the style that you used to do your show on, is that he would bring on his your computer and have all the tabs to all the stories that you were going to cover. And you would literally go from story to story to story, news, on everything that was happening. And that was amazing. I thought that was a great way to cover all the stories. And it's not, much later that I realized how much work that is to do all that.
Yeah, it takes time. But one of the things that I try to do is not give the entire thing away. Otherwise, what's the point of watching it, right? So I would just lay the format out and give information about the video that I was focusing on, but not give the entire thing away. So when people go out and watch it, they'll, experience it for themselves. But just tell them a little bit about it, some of the interesting points.
Yeah. And that's what we needed. If you thought it was interesting, then you could go follow up and go read the article yourself, or take, the search further, which is what I like to do. I mean, I have books and books of the, research, because that's what my deal is. That's what I find interesting about all this, is the amount of any kind of information, the research, well, I don't listen to a whole lot of encounter stuff anymore because at this point they kind of sound the same to me. But still, you go through like this whole change from the beginning to the end. And I don't remember if I was telling Brent this or I know I just told you, but 10 years ago, I was crazy. I didn't have my own show. So was one of those who hid behind my computer and I just lashed out at anybody back then. That was me. I just told, you are full of shit. I would tell people all the time. And I didn't care because I'm like, how do you know that? How do you know Bigfoot's doing that? Did you see them build that? Did you see them stack those rocks? Did you see whatever? I was constantly telling people, give me the proof. I want the proof. Show me what you're saying all this, but you don't have 1 ounce of proof. You just want me to believe you blindly. And I can't do that. But
yeah, we were talking earlier pre-show about how it's getting more difficult, right, with AI and with CGI and all of these applications now that are available to people to make things look authentic, and that's got to be a real challenge. If you're trying to debunk this stuff, I don't think Thunker is I mean, he's got a lot of credibility. He seems to have all of the right tools, the knowledge, the background to take something apart and arrive at some conclusion. And sometimes he doesn't even tell you what his real thoughts are. He just shows you the data, which is good. I think that's good. But I don't know if you remember.
Since then come out against him.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. I don't see, well, he's made a lot of mistakes, and the one thing he doesn't come out. Okay, I think one time he did do a retraction on the what do you call that tree cutter that cuts the trees? Well, there was some tree Philip Buncher or Phyllis or whatever it is.
I remember that video, yeah.
And that was that. It was just a logging going on there, not Bigfoot moving a tree. And I think
I remember that video. I mean, even guys like Thinker Thunker can't be right 100% of the time, right? So what chance do some of us have, right? You really have to kind of take things at face value and make up your own mind. And I think that kind of thing creates a lot of the infighting that's going on. It always has. Even back then, 10 years ago, there was a lot of infighting about what was authentic, what was real, what wasn't, who's a bullshit artist and who's not. I don't think that's changed. I think it's just gone to another level probably, but yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You are totally right. And we've heard that even from people who remember fights back in the 70s, and how some of the old, even Four Horsemen, Renee DeHinden or any of them from back then, they didn't get along, so it's
always been that way. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think the thing to do is keep your nose clean and focus on what you do and not let others offend you, because they're sure going to try. But Nikki, you could take care of yourself. I don't need to tell you that.
Yeah, I try to take it. Sometimes I get broken down a little bit, but I got a great group of people that support me and believe in what I do, and that's enough. That has proven to be enough, and I'm gonna try to do them proud. I'm actually going to be going up into the Sacramento Mountains this coming spring and summer and do my own thing and have fun, while I still can. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you about that because I know that's where you had your first experience, right? Was in the Sacramento Mountains or in the I do
Yeah, well, it is Ruidoso.
It is
Cloud Crop. Cloud Crop.
Cloud Crop. That's right.
Yeah.
That place, if I can say before you go on, sorry to interrupt you, that place it's one of the squatchiest places I've ever been to. When I was a kid, we would go out there, we would camp and all that, and it was just, it's thick, it's lush, there's plenty of water and plenty of game. It's crazy squatchy out there.
Yeah. That initial camp out I went to just to go check out the area and to go driving around and on the dirt fire roads, and I stayed up at a very high elevation camp, and you could hear, because it's in the mountains, so there's a bunch of little dips and valleys in there, and oh my god, the elk were bugling so crazy, eerie. It was like it was just echoing through the valleys, and quite spooky to get woken up in the middle of the night with those elk. And amazing at the same time. It was a good cold. It was in October. I was already cold, but I'm cold all the time, so it didn't matter. My first experience, if you want to call it an experience, because I don't know if it was a Bigfoot experience, but in July of last year, I went to Mount St. Helens and had a little shindig with some friends. We had a gathering out there, and we were walking around and doing our thing out there in the dark. But it wasn't till that last night that we all went to sleep. Cameras were gone. All the audio were down there. We didn't have nothing. We were getting ready to leave the next morning. And of course, that's when something was walking around in the camp that night. I don't know what it was, if it was a bear or if it was deer or what. It didn't sound like no deer. And it did get into the garbage, but it came to the side of my tent. It walked, boom, 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 leaned down, and it went cha, like that.
Holy
right
crap.
on my ear. And I was waiting though for the snorting, and the sniffing from a bear. I 100% thought at that point it was a bear, but there was nothing. No snorts or scratches or sniffing, breathing, and it walked back to over where the garbage was. And after that, I got my phone, which was in my backpack, charging on, and got it, turned it on, and then I proceeded to do this in the dark. What did I call it, guys? I called it the Sasquatch Blair Project or the Nikki Blair Project or something like that, because I'm in the dark, scared that this bear is going to come into my tent, and I had no bear spray. So it was like, oh my God. The one thing about that whole incident is that there were 3 of us, tent, some trees, and then another tent. All 3 of us had something happen that night. So it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. And when we woke up in the morning, there were prints, and where the creek was all wet, like something had been coming in and out of the water. And and the garbage that I thought was going to be everywhere was not everywhere. It was just right there in one nice little place. It wasn't like you would picture a bear just tearing into things. The wad of foil was just opened up and licked clean, from cooking. And on the table right above the garbage, there was sugar. There was sugar cubes and cookies, and there was all kinds of food we had left out. None of that was touched.
Wow, that is strange.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing it was a bear because of that.
I think the bear bears, they don't care.
Yeah, I think they would have knocked down all that food and empty cans and whatever we had up there off the table, but that's
Yeah,
not what happened.
absolutely.
And
Yeah. Oh, that is strange.
Jen, who was in the tent next to me that morning when she got up, she was seeing footprints all over the place. She was seeing bare footprints and identifying them all over the place.
Were the footprints, did they look, were they bear prints? Or were they human prints? Or what did they look like?
They looked like bare people footprints,
Like bare
So
feet.
I have one loaded up. I don't have that loaded up right
Wow.
now. I took it off for some other stuff, but it's still hard to see. It was hard, and they were small. Okay, they weren't like big. They were like maybe my size foot, So
Wow.
and that whatever came to the back of my tent didn't sound like a big honking monster. It didn't. It's but scary nonetheless. But was it a Bigfoot?
So
I don't know.
when you go back, are you going to camp in the same area?
If I go back to Mount St. Helens, I would. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I got confused with Mount St. Helens and the Sacramento Mountains.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I ever go back to there, I would love to go back to that area. It's beautiful. And it's something's there. I don't know. Nothing was there. Days, but that last night something came in, and I want to know what it was.
Yeah.
So, and that's what got me like, man, I want to do this more. But of course, we're heading to, when I get back home, it's you have your life, you have stuff you have to do, and I was only able to really get out to Cloudcroft for another 4 days, and to start checking out the area, and I met a gal who had a sighting. She took me out to her area over there where she had a sighting and gave me an interview, and that was amazing. That's on the channel. And so hopefully we can start hiking together and going out there to all these areas that she's finding footprints. She has found several good sized footprints out there, but in 12 years, she's never seen what she saw again.
Wow.
And she's gone out there a lot, and she said, I'm looking, but I don't find it anywhere.
Yeah. Those are the best stories in my mind anyway. When you run into somebody, you don't expect them to have had an experience or a sighting or whatever it is. Betty and I, my wife Betty and I, were up in it was northern Arizona, south on Highway 3. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the place. It was Clint's Well, I think.
Oh, that's where I went to Clint's Well too. I used to go right there.
Yeah.
Long Valley, right there in Long Valley.
Yes, the Long Valley Cafe. You know where that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were having lunch there, and I saw a BFRO card on the bulletin there. People, put their business cards up there, and I asked the waitress, I'm like, well, how long ago were they here, and why were they here? And she said, oh, they were here like months ago, and they came down to interview one of the waitress's husbands because he had a sighting on Highway 3. And at the time he worked for the Department of Transportation, and they would plow the roads or whatever, but he was coming home from work actually, and he was on the 3, and he took a slight turn, and he saw what he described as a very tall, reddish brownish being step over the guardrail and then walked off into the woods in the snow. And he turned around and went back, and of course it was gone. But and so I talked to the waitress and asked if I could interview her husband, and she said, yeah, sure. And he came and picked her up, and we did that. But what I remember the most about the interview was when he said, I don't know what it was, but I do know what it wasn't. It wasn't a bear, it wasn't elk, it wasn't any of the sort of things or the animals that you see in this area. It was definitely not that. And so that was really interesting. And I like running into people who have stories like that, kind of unexpected, where you just kind of run into somebody who's had an experience or a sighting or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah, you used to call it your cafe, Bigfoot Cafe
Bigfoot Cafe,
stories
yeah.
when you used to do all those. And I remember because J.C. Johnson had a sighting. Was it Blue Reservoir? What was it called?
The Blue Ridge Reservoir.
Blue Ridge Reservoir. Didn't he
Yeah.
have one right there? And I was like, I always wanted to go. My dad took me there once, but I was maybe 12, 13. I don't remember. But I wanted to go back and camp in that area as an
Oh man, that
adult.
place is crazy, Squatchy. It's crazy.
Mhm.
So my wife and I went up to the Blue Ridge Reservoir because I was very curious about it too, and they said that there's activity there, and we spent the day. And in fact, the picture that's on the Bigfoot Weekly
Oh, yeah,
uh,
that one.
on Facebook, yeah, that is the Blue Ridge Reservoir and the surrounding area. It is crazy. It's beautiful there too. I mean, it's super nice.
Yeah.
You would enjoy going up there and having a look around.
I do.
Over to the if you ever get a chance, you definitely want to go. But on the left side of that picture, that's a very steep mountain that goes up, but is super wooded, very thick. And on the other side of that, I really don't know what's on the other side of that, but man, the place it's incredible.
Yeah, that whole area all the way through to the Mogollon Rim down to Forest Lakes. I've camped at Forest Lakes. I've been to the rim several times, but I did go a couple of years ago with some friends, and there's a lot of things other than Bigfoot. They say up in that area, and of course we've had a lot of UFO sightings in the Springerville all the way through the White Mountains. A lot of UFO stuff happening there. I mean, that's where the what's his name? Gosh, now I'm brain
Mitch
dead.
Waite.
What's the Fire in the Sky? The guy from
Oh
Fire in the Sky.
yeah. From,
Travis Walton had
yeah,
his site right there.
yeah.
So
He was in Holbrook, right? Is where that took place. No, not Holbrook. It
closer
was.
to wasn't it Springerville?
Let me look at the map real quick.
I can't remember now.
It wasn't Holbrook. It was definitely in the White Mountains.
Yeah, it was on the top there.
Anybody on the chat know?
It was
remember?
Why do I keep saying Springerville?
Springerville is in the White Mountains.
It was not Sholo. It was Snowflake. Snowflake, wasn't it? Snowflake?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I forget because I'm old.
I'll get to one of them. Yeah. I'll name all the little towns all the way down before I hit it. So, yeah.
Well, one thing about the Mogollon Rim, that's where Mitch Waite did a lot of his research. And one of the things that I regret is when we did the interview, we were at his home and got to meet him and his wife, and he gave a great interview. And afterwards, he said, "I'll take you up there and I'll show you, I'll show you where this place is, where he's had all his experiences and has gathered all this evidence and stuff." And but he said, "But I'll have to have you sign an NDA." And I read the NDA. He said, "Here, I'll give it to you. Read it, think about it, let me know." But in the NDA, he had an NDA, for those of you who've not heard the term, it's a non-disclosure agreement. And in that agreement, he specified that I would not ever divulge that area to anybody else. And I would not ever go back without him. And I just thought, if I go out there with him and I see something or experience something, or, am I going to be able to keep my mouth shut? Am I going to be able to, and am I going to want to go back? Yeah, probably, So I didn't sign it, and he didn't take me out. And that's a regret that I've had since knowing Mitch.
Yeah.
Feel like I probably something
he was
I
a great guy. He was great, super nice guy. I don't know if I believed everything he said.
Some things were definitely a stretch. Yeah.
Some of his, nest sites I was a little iffy on. They kind of just looked like the brush pile stuff, that the Forest Service does when they clear the area. But he did have one video that kind of made me think, dang, what was that? It was a video.
Was he in a trailer?
That one too. That was kind of scary when he was in that trailer. But this one, he was out in the woods by himself, and he was in the area. He used to call them the meat eaters. Do you remember? He used to have two different kinds of Bigfoots. The more human looking Bigfoots, and then when he went closer to New Mexico mountain, he said they were mean and they were dark colored, and that he called them the meat eaters. While he was searching that area, he was getting rocks thrown at him, and this is on video. All of this is on video. Okay, and I don't know if it's still there. I think his grandson preserved the site, but so he decides he's just had enough and he's leaving, and as he's leaving, you hear a growl, and he's like, okay, that's it, and he moves the camera like this, and when he does that, I swear there is a Bigfoot face in the tree. Now, I am not a pareidolia person. Okay, I am not a pareidolia person. I don't believe in that stuff. If I don't see it, it's not there. But I saw that, and it was even in a moving shot. And I can remember for weeks, I was going back and forth, forwarding back and forth, watching this footage as he so fast got into his truck, and then he took off. And he only explained it as the growl. And I'm like, no, in the tree. I saw something in the tree as you passed by the tree. And he, didn't know. So we never finished up with that conversation because I had talked to him at a library, believe it or not, in Glendale. And because he was doing one of his little library deals. So there was other people and they all wanted to look at his stuff and ask him questions and stuff. But I was like, yeah, I think you got something in that picture. And I don't know if that video is still out there. I remember it was in August 9 or 19th of 10, 15 years ago. Who knows? Who knows if that stuff is still there?
Yeah, it was a totally different generation of people back then. Seems like. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to look that one up because I don't remember that one, but I'll definitely look it up. And the other one was when he was in that trailer, and it was, I think he said it was his friend's trailer, and he was experiencing oddities and noises and odd stuff going on, and he set up cameras outside the trailer. And when you heard these noises or felt the trailer move a bit, he would turn on the recorder, but he never saw anything outside. But then later when he checked his cameras, and he said the trailer was parked up very, like, almost up against a chain link fence. It's kind of a tall fence. And that's where he put some of the cameras. You could see what looked like, for lack of a better word, like sparks or electricity running through the fence.
Right.
Just random. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Weird. I do. He was like up there doing something for that trailer or something, right? It's for somebody else.
Yeah, it was a buddy of his. Yeah.
Maybe that was in Springerville.
You might be right. Yeah.
So, and it didn't look particularly squatchy out there.
No, it was just something strange.
Yeah, it was something strange though, and he was stuck in that little quiet little trailer.
It was a very small trailer.
Mitchell Waite, and he had
Yeah.
his site used to be just Bigfoot research. I think it used to just be Bigfoot research. I'll try to find it, and if I do, I'll post it in my community page so you guys can check it out. Okay. I haven't checked on it for years, so I don't know if the site's still up or what. His wife was Susan.
Yeah.
What was her last name? It wasn't the same.
No, it was different. Yeah.
Farnsworth.
That's all I can remember.
I think it was
Farnsworth. No?
Yeah. Something like
Yeah,
that.
I think that's what I remember.
Okay. So that she maintained the site for a little while, and then their grandson checked it out for a little while, or kept it up anyway. So, but that'll be
Yeah, and
good
you
to
had that
see.
trailer that he's standing next to in that picture that said, what did you say, Mogollon Monster? Yeah, that's what it says, MogollonMonster.com.
He was the first original Mogollon Monster, Mitch Waite, and had the MogollonMonster.com and all of that. For those of you who think Russell had it, it wasn't. It was him first. But Mitch always went with, on his YouTube page, he went with Bigfoot research, because this was in the early onset days, so it wasn't where you were trying to tie in all your names the same and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I have a picture with him and one of those asks he has right there. Yeah. But he was good. But what actually got you though to want to keep to research this stuff?
Since I was a kid, I think it all started, honestly, when I was a kid. My grandmother lived in a very old house. It was made out of adobe. It was in the old Chinatown in El Paso. And this old Chinatown was, a lot of very old homes there. I remember stories of her having a ghost. It was and my dad saw her. He never told me. My grandmother told me because he wouldn't tell me. Her house was haunted. Let's just put it that way. And that got me interested in paranormal and strange, strange things, ETs, UFOs, the whole gamut. But I honestly thought 10 years ago, 12 years ago, that I really thought that we were close, that someone's going to either take a body, find a body, which is like the only thing it's going to take at this point to actually prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that these things exist. And at the time, I thought we were that close, and I took a big interest in it. And unfortunately, I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel like we're anywhere closer to that than we were then, and I'll tell you why. I think that I'm not saying it is, but if this thing is paranormal or interdimensional, whatever, we're never going to find a body. It's just not going to happen. Physical evidence for those kinds of beings, if that's what it is, we're just not going to find anything. And so that's my train of thought right now. I'd love nothing better than to be proven wrong. For somebody to say, Vic, you're full of crap. Look at this. We got a body, whatever. That would be like the ultimate. But I just don't have the confidence anymore that that's going to happen. For the last 10 years, it just seems like we're seeing more evidence. And like I give Dr. Meldrum 100% credit and kudos for being one of the few what's the right word for it? He's a scientist is what he is, right? That has actually delved into it and said something is making these footprints. There's something in this video or this photo or whatever. There's something there. Right. But beyond that, I don't think we've progressed that much the last 10 years. I just don't feel like we have.
we still only have the PNG film and maybe the, the Freeman footage that can still go both ways. There are pretty much people on both sides of the fence with both of those.
Yeah, what's your opinion on the Patterson Gimlin?
I don't know. I'm about 70-30. It's real.
That's
I
about where I am as well.
see red flags, and I shouldn't. I don't think I should. If I really believed that was Patty was real, then I should be 100% on that thought. But there's things I just don't believe in, and some parts of the storyline, some parts of if that's the suit, that's a pretty darn good suit, I will admit, compared to what we had for the late 60s. That was pretty good, but
yeah, I think that's been debunked, right?
Never liked the butt. I never ever liked the feet. I never ever liked the face and the jut and the dark. Never liked any of that. So
yeah,
but for me, and I've told my clan here, they all know that it doesn't matter to me if the PNG film is real or not, because that's not what I base my belief in Bigfoot. I primarily believe it's there because I don't think there can be 10,000, probably by now, 10,000 encounter stories and not some of those being real.
There's something going on for sure.
Right.
For sure. There's something there. Yeah.
And I know people and have heard their stories, their encounters, and I believe them. And I want to believe them.
Yeah, me too. No, I believe that there's something going on. Yes. But will we ever know for sure, like say with the biologically speaking, are we ever going to have a body, find a body, etc.? That's where I think it hasn't happened yet. And I'm not sure that I don't have high confidence that it will anytime soon. I hope it does, man. I really do hope so. But there's definitely something out there.
We do. We want another. Why can't we get another video with the technology we have today, like the Patterson Gimlin?
Yeah.
Or the Freeman even.
Yeah. Freeman's that was a great video.
They say they're out there, but because of the way we are, and the skepticism, the me's, okay, putting things to really critical think about what we're looking at, they won't come out with it. They'll hold on to it forever. They won't even release, because you'll get that people saying, oh, I have a great picture of Bigfoot, but I'm not showing anybody. I've got it, but nobody will believe me anyway. And I get that. I get what they're saying, because we have the right to that criticism. We have the right to question what's.
We all know there's people out there that'll just tear you apart if they, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
but it's all good, at the same rate, if you've got evidence in it, if you have to change it in any way, don't put it out. I mean, that's kind of the deal. Don't put it out. If you have to circle it with your little red circles or highlight it or zoom into it 1,000 times and get it all pixelated so that you have this blob squatch there, that's not any good. It's not any good,
Yeah.
That's just
agreed. Totally agreed. So yeah, I'm on probably the same page as you as far as the Patterson Gimlin film. I think there's more compelling evidence that it is an actual being, whatever it is, if it's a Bigfoot. Yeah. I think they debunked the theory of it being a costume because back in 67?
Yeah, 67.
Even Hollywood was not able to put together something that, that looks that authentic. And you remember MK Davis?
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh,
video breakdowns.
He's hot right now. Right now in the community, he's hot. Yeah.
What's going on? because he did a lot of breakdown on that video. I mean, it was almost every week he had something.
Yeah, I give him that. He took that film frame by frame and stabilized it pretty good, pretty good. I give him that. But later on, when he came up with the massacre theory, have you heard of the massacre theory? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, a little bit later, go watch my show, The Massacre, the Bluff Creek Massacre. And that'll be a whole rabbit hole to jump into. He claims between him and some other people, what's his name, guys? The 411. Boy, my brain is not working today. That's what I get for staying out all night, going to the movies. Pilates, David Pilates. Him and some other people got this idea that there was a massacre there at Bluff Creek, and that Renee DeHinden and a bunch of them that were there, Bob Gimlin and Patterson, they killed a bunch of Bigfoots out there and they buried them. Okay. And he took that film and he changed the coloring on it to make it look like there were red puddles out there of blood and stuff like that. And I'm not going to go into all of that. Yeah. So he did that. Recently, he has gotten with a man named Todd Gatewood, who, do I have that? I had a bunch of these photos linked up, but I needed to make room. You're only allowed so many slots right here. No, I took it down. I wonder if I can get it up real fast. Let's see if I can find it while I'm talking. So recently, Todd Gatewood took a photo, which was an artist rendering done in like the early 1990s of Patty. Okay. And he upscaled it. And what he's claiming is not AI generated, but in my book, if you're changing pixels and the computer is rearranging, then that's AI. So let's see if I can bring those pictures up. I'm horrible at labeling shit, though. So just kidding. I tend to just hit save, and I don't put a file name on stuff. Where am I at? I don't know.
I hadn't heard about that one. I missed that. I guess I need to be more diligent.
Well,
so while you're looking, I mean, where is, aside from your channel, or is there another good source for Bigfoot news?
Oh yeah, I mean, you could go to Squatch DTV. Will do most of the investigation stuff on. Hold on, I'm trying to read it. In regards to hoaxes and bringing you up to date on nefarious stuff, kind of like the Bigfoot news, what's going on. Kark Universal and the Tall Ones does a little deeper dive into some of this stuff.
Remember Phil?
Not here. I need to have
Phil
that
Foley.
stuff. Para Breakdown's good. Yeah, he's pretty good. But I remember we had.
Much lately, though.
What was that?
I don't think he's doing very much lately. I haven't seen a whole lot from him.
Not a whole lot. Yeah, no, not anymore. Why do I not find it? I don't know. I'm just wasting time here looking. No, won't let me get out. Okay. So But what do you think Bigfoot is? What's your thought on what it is?
I've heard all kinds of theories. Some of them are biblical, theological, that they're descendants of Cain. I've heard, of course, that there is some ancient primate that was here or has been here, for a long, long time. I have to say, I don't know. I don't have any idea what they are, but, it just seems like they've been here a long, long time, as the Native Americans have them documented, right? But I have no idea, Nikki, what they are.
Yeah, it's
Your
pretty
thoughts?
much all speculation, on what it
Yeah,
is. It's just how you explain it and stuff, and a lot of people will disagree with me on this point, but I don't believe they're human beings. I don't believe they're Homo sapien. They are Homo, okay? We know that because they have the opposable thumbs. They walk upright. They have the brow ridge, and they have, you know, they're shown to have or said to have the hooded nose and the
yeah.
jaw structure. So it's somewhere in that ladder of life they sprouted out off of I don't know, Homo erectus, Homo naledi, somewhere in there. They have their own place, and we just haven't found any of the fossil records, because remember, we only have like 1% of the fossil record, in hand. So who knows if we'll ever get any of that.
I don't know. There
And
are a lot of theories.
yeah,
A lot of theories. And I think the biggest mystery is, and you hear theories around, a bunch of theories around this as well, is why they're so elusive, or how is it that they're so elusive? And I just don't know if they can detect humans from long distances away, so that they leave the area, or they hunker down and they're well hidden, or if, who knows? I mean, but they are, man, absolutely elusive, but
yeah,
very elusive. And
yeah. Well, they're doing fine on their own. I don't think we need to interject ourselves into their lives, because they're doing fine all on their own. All
they
on their
definitely
own.
don't need us. That's for sure. That is for sure. Yeah. I wanted to ask you as well, what do you think about the Expedition Bigfoot series?
It's entertainment. Pretty much entertainment. And although it's interesting, I do find it interesting. I think I only ever completed the first season. I haven't watched the other ones.
They're interesting.
Primarily, yeah, it is interesting, and if I catch a show, I'll watch it. But I'm gotten to the point where I like to watch a whole season at once, so I have to go back and look at those. I will look at one occasionally, but just doesn't hold my interest, because I don't know how believable it is, you know?
That's the
It,
thing. You don't know how much is show business, how much is television, and how much is
right.
actual research. But I think the female researcher, she's actually a scientist as well. Unlike some of the others, I think the others are
Myra,
expeditionists and researchers. I
Myra.
think her name is Maria. I can't remember her last name, but
Um,
if they had 3 or 4 of her, I think they would probably get a little further. She doesn't fall for any of the, she if there's not solid evidence there that it is something, then she just doesn't buy in. She's like, no.
yeah,
And a lot of the others that are with her kind of have a tendency to leaning towards, oh yeah, this, not everything is a Bigfoot out there, right? And she seems to be like the biggest voice of reason doing that expedition. She'll call the others out on, like, no, that you don't know that, you can't know that. that's just speculation. And so I think she kind of keeps them on an honest path, because some of the others have a tendency to believe that everything is a Squatch. And she's like, yeah, no, I don't think so. But when there's something there that she can't explain or that can't be explained, she'll be the first to say, can't explain it. Don't know what it is. But yeah, it's definitely a strange occurrence or phenomenon or whatever. She'll be the first to admit it. But I like her approach. She has to have evidence of something before she calls it what it is, where like the other guys are not quite as disciplined maybe as she is.
Yeah.
If you watch the next series, you'll get a feel for her way of doing things.
There's the photo, the Todd Gatewood photo there on the right. And to me, I made this slide because one doesn't, one of these pictures isn't not like the other. It just doesn't work for me. They don't look the same. So, yeah, not at all. There's a lot of changes with that photo. So,
yeah, I saw that last week. I think I saw that.
I mean, now it has teeth and a booger coming out the nose and a big old hole in the head, and it's changed. It's not what it was. So I think it's ridiculous. I really do. I don't believe it at all. But it's a big thing right now, is Todd Gatewood going around and him and MK Davis supporting the idea that that's the new Patty.
So MK Davis is still active in all of this. Yes. I knew he was getting up in age.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah.
I think he was sick for a little while and stepped back, but he's still always involved. So, but
yeah, I think he's beat that horse for the last 12 years, probably.
Yeah, for sure. But let us go to something new. Oh, there's Mark Pata. I forgot I had a slide. Yeah. I actually lived not too far from where he used to research, because I ended up moving to Colorado Springs. So I went to Castle Rock area there and tromped around, but it was a hike. That's all it was. I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, he claims that one of his claims was that where he researches is a park. And there's
I went to it. It was a park. It was big old parking lot too.
Yes, yeah. And that there's no, I don't know if he said there was no overnight camping or there was no there's no hunting, definitely for sure. And he said that.
Yeah, no hunting.
But there was plenty of game, other things like that were conducive to to a good Bigfoot habitat.
Right. The majority of Colorado is squatchy, so it looked good. It looked good, kind of rocky, a lot of vegetation, big diverse elevation. You could really tromp around in there. It's kind of hard to get around, actually, if you go off trail, which I didn't. So, and he would. I know I would see his videos and he would be off trail most of the time. So
it's
all good. Oh, good. But let's move on and let's do a little bit of
what you got. Jim, you heard them said, show me what you got.
So what do we got today? I don't have a whole lot, but this picture has been showing up lately. And it was supposedly a trail cam photo out of Tucson, Arizona. Can you believe that? Out of an area, I think it was called the Mica area. And it was changed. We changed the color so you could kind of see. But that's how the picture was. No trail cam name, date, timestamp, none of that on there. Okay, which is kind of suspect in itself. Let me go over here. And yeah, Mica Mountains to the east of Tucson. And it had a pretty big elevation there, 8,600. And I've never been up on that mountain, so I had never knew that it looked like that up there. Because, you know, Tucson desert, scrub brush and stuff. But maybe, you never know. It looked not that bad when I took a look at it, but there was no information other than according to the gentleman who had the trail cam, that the trail camera was placed 10 feet up. And that. So did they take a ladder out there to put that trail cam up? You know, I always wonder about that when people say, you know, well, the trail cam was way up here, you know, 11 feet high and the thing's right there. Well, oh, that must have been heck carrying a ladder all the way out here, you know, to do that. And I do know of one researcher who used to carry a big old 6-foot ladder with him out in the woods because he used to put his things up, his trail cam up high. Yeah. So I know it happens. I know people do it, but I just.
So what was the purpose of him mounting the camera up so high? Was he just looking for game, or was he?
Apparently, yeah. That I don't know though. There's not much to the story, but
that is weird.
It is weird. It could be them. Could be him looking into it, and it just took a weird photo. But I don't think it's a game camera. I don't. What do you think, Trackway? Trackway is an expert. He's an expert at trail cams. Let me know what you guys think in there. You guys think that that's a Bigfooty staring at your soul? It's staring at you. It's fog. Oh, it's just fog and we're seeing pareidolia? It could be. It could be. Where's the other picture? That one.
Yeah, because the proportions look strange, you know. Like where the eye is versus the nose versus the mouth, it just doesn't align, you know.
It's just fog. Trackway saying it's just fog. Okay.
It's swamp gas.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys, we were Brent recently put out that video about Igor Burschev, and I put a poll into the chat about, do you believe that Igor Burschev was talking to Bigfoot on his phone, on his cell phone? So let me get that here. How do I end? I'm going to end the poll. Hopefully you all took the poll that was out there. And it says, out of 49 votes, 91% said no, you do not believe it, and 8% said yes. So, wow.
Where was this Bigfoot he was talking to?
In Russia.
Supposedly.
It was in Russia, and he called home, and this was at, which conference was it? Pennsylvania or Nebraska? Nebraska, I think. My useless brain today. Sorry, guys. I didn't eat my Wheaties. So, yeah. But there is video of this out there, and it talks to him and everything. I didn't load any of that up. You guys can go see Brent's, the tall one's video of it. The link is in the description down below. So you
So you
can
mean he
find
got this on video while he was talking to this Squatch?
he was talking to a
Is that
Sasquatch, yes, back and forth and understanding it and everything. But that's not all, Vic, okay? Because his Bigfoot also, hold on, drives a car, okay? This is Grisha, his Bigfoot friend, and drives a car. Where he is driving a car, and then he tried his hand at driving a tractor.
where did this
And
get published?
on Igor Burshchev's Facebook page, you can go and it's there today. It's there right
Oh
now.
my gosh.
Now, back in the day, he did a lot of studies on Xana, the Almasti, and he did some other things, other scientific, studies and stuff. So he was kind of thought of as, a researcher.
Yeah, that's how I
So
remember it.
it's gone a little crazy. I think
Well,
it's gone a little crazy.
don't you think it's this stuff is out of character for him? I mean,
I
I
guess
thought he was a more serious.
he's always been a little eccentric, but the fact that he has followers and that people really believe this is beyond me. I can't get it. I can't understand. And I want somebody to tell me why they believe it. But you can't ask that question in a lot of places because you hurt feelings. I don't want somebody to just say, well, they're my best friend. And no, I want you to tell me what evidence by looking at that or let's see. Oh, okay, here. What makes you think that is what a Yeti or whatever he's calling it there in Russia is probably something else. That's
I
a
mean, look,
Bigfoot.
he's wearing a fur coat.
I know.
Standing next to the
I
car. That looks like a big fur
I know.
coat.
And there's pictures of it driving. Okay, there is pictures of it driving recklessly around, and he's laughing in the background. He's hysterically laughing. And that to me is that he's pulling the wool over a lot of people's eyes and joking around. But of course he's speaking in Russian. So I don't know. If somebody out there speaks Russian, would you go translate that video for me? I would love to know what he says when he's laughing. What he says. Please. One of y'all has to know what he says.
Oh my gosh.
So please let me know that. And I brought this up because of all the heat that Brent got for putting it out there prior to.
It's worth putting out there. I mean, it's Bigfoot news, It's
Bigfoot news. But see, what happens is people don't like the news. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's Bigfoot news or if it's political news or what. There are people who don't like to hear facts or the news, and that's because sometimes the news spins, right? And you get people on both sides reporting. It depends on you're looking at your source.
Whether Igor Burtsev is playing everybody or not, it's still news.
It's still news either way. Right. I'm not making it up. I did. This is not AI. Okay, this stuff is real because we have.
That's crazy.
We have videos of this.
I'm gonna have to look at that.
So, but yeah. Jay Fritz says he's laughing all the way to the bank.
Probably.
Well, you hear another voice on the video too. I think too. I thought that too. Trackway. He says the General Custard of Squatch. He just needs one of those hats, and he's like, perfect. Look at that.
Maybe he gave up, Maybe he just gave up and gave in, and that is hilarious.
But there's no, I just don't understand. And there's also people, well, we all know that Robin McRae supports this and has said that she's, I don't know, what was it? Was she actually there? Grasshopper would know. And saw him. I know she went to Russia, right? And then the whole thing with her accusing Dr. Meldrum of whatever happened. Squatch Uber. It's a Squatch Uber. That's good. Anyway, it's ridiculous, okay? And look with your own eyes. Half the people in the chat, you've probably seen a real Bigfoot. That's not that. That's not that. It's not that, okay? Don't worry about hurting people's feelings by saying, the truth. Because that's freaking ridiculous right there. That is ridiculous. That's a joke. They're playing a joke, and half the people are sucking into it, trying to make, they are grifting off of that.
Like who gave them the keys? Who said, here, you can take the car?
Colonel Sanders. Shoot, hold on.
Okay. That's crazy.
It's funny, but I can't stop laughing either. It's funny. It's funny. It's a joke. What we got in the news today? No idea. And I'm sorry, guys. I didn't watch Kark today because I was super busy getting ready. So if this is a duplicate, I don't know. So Mysteries of Massachusetts Monsterland, a 5-mile stretch of uncharted woods where locals claim they've seen flying saucers, glowing orange orbs, and Bigfoot. The woods that line the small city of Leominster near Boston in central Massachusetts are a supernatural hotbed. For centuries, the eerie woods that line the small city of Minster near Boston have been a hotbed for rumored sightings and Bigfoot himself. Some say these mysterious tales first began surfacing in New England town in 1800s. The locals sharing stories about the berry-eating beast. But suspicions really took off in the 50s after a man claimed in a local bar that he had encountered a monster before vanishing when he left to track it down. Since then, the reported supernatural sightings have only increased, earning the area its ominous nickname and attracting Bigfoot hunters from all over the country. So there's your...
That's interesting.
Your monster land.
What are your thoughts about orbs related to Bigfoot? Because you hear reports where...
related to Bigfoot, 0 for me. It's a big 0. But I do think that there's some kind of anomaly out there. Because I don't attach paranormal to Bigfoot, but I do believe there's some paranormal stuff going on. Hold on, I'm getting a call and they won't stop calling. So that's my thing. Yeah, they probably exist. They do exist, I believe. I think there are some credible photos out there, and that aren't just lens flares and stuff like that, or dust particles, which I think most of them are. But as far as putting the two together, no, I don't think that's a thing. I'm not a big portal person, or
I don't know what to make of that either.
Trees or, but there's questions, right? Why do we always find one big footprint? Where's the rest of them? Where's the rest of the tracks? I know there's questions like that. I don't have the answers. Nobody has the answers. It's just fun to try to find the answers. So, we'll see. Next up, out of Radio Boston, Field Guide to Boston. What the search for Bigfoot in Massachusetts can teach us about ourselves, February 23rd. Author and Professor John O'Connor spent a year going all over the country with people in search of Bigfoot, including the Berkshires. He joins Radio Boston to discuss the new book, The Secret History of Bigfoot, Field Notes on the North American Monster. And he says Massachusetts plays a central role in the narrative. So during this interview, one of the highlights, O'Connor says, I think Bigfoot just circles around a lot of things that I've written about over the course of my career. But one of the big allures of Bigfoot is just what's hidden in the shadows, what's hidden in the darkness, is what he says. So I don't know if I put those in the chat or not, but I will make in the description down below, but I'll get them there if they're not there. So you guys can read the entire articles. I think that was it. Next, we have got Be on the Lookout. I can't even find it. There it is. So, for being on the lookout, don't forget, in a half an hour, I'm going to be over at Squatch DTV with Steve Calls. And I have no idea what we're talking about. So be prepared, because I'll just be answering whatever he asks me. But I like my character. Like it. I think it's cool. I'm sure that'll piss some people off, but that's all the fun about it, right? Have more fun with it, for sure. Nikki Saber Boy still got 2 hours to talk with Steve. I know. 2 hours. Hey, there's my sister. What's up? So that, and then what else did I have? Oh, I have to say this thing. Don't forget. Come show me some love. Come join up and get one of them memberships, because we had our first in-house live membership, live only, the other day, and they're gonna get good. I have a feeling. Right, Jay? Jay was there. Jay made it, and I'm telling secrets. So you gotta come and get part of that. I'm probably gonna end up including all 3 levels in those secret chats. So do that for me. Oh gosh. Oops. I gotta take that guy out of here. You're out of here. So anyway, that's all I got for tonight, guys. Man, thanks for coming and talking with me tonight.
Hey, thank you for having me. It was great kind of going back, 10 years, the way things were then, and a lot of the new stuff that's happened today. Thanks for enlightening me there. I didn't know a lot of the stuff that was going on. I appreciate that. So I'll make sure to follow closely.
I have to confess something to you guys, all of you guys. I have officially hijacked Bigfoot Weekly Facebook page. Okay, if you haven't noticed, I took it over. I didn't ask Vic, I just took it.
Well, you've been an administrator. I mean, so you've had it for I don't know how long now.
I mean, I'm the one who told you to start it up. I was like, start a Facebook page, start a Facebook page. And so
as far as I'm concerned, it's yours, Nikki. You did a lot more with it than I ever would have done.
Thank you. But I've had it for that whole time. We've done stuff on there. But
that's great. You've done a lot of good things. I'm surprised and kind of amazed at how far you've taken it. It's great to see you do that.
Thank you. Sure. I appreciate that. For little follower, just waiting for Vic to come on every week. When is he gonna put out his next show? And then when is Rick gonna come on? Rick Dyer, because that was my Bigfoot soap opera.
Yeah, that was the other one. Yeah, for sure. It was fun.
Day was something new. So anyway, well,
thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to do it again and come on when I have a panel, and then we can talk some Bigfoot stuff for sure. Good. So everybody, Love you all. Please hit that like button before you leave. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you want me to talk about. If you like this or not, share it around. Hey. But I'll see you guys literally in the next chat. Love you guys.